Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into something we all use, but honestly, almost nobody really understands: how money moves around the world. We're going to pull back the curtain on this hidden world of massive numbers and complex machinery, and you know what? We're going to make it all make sense. So, let's just start with this giant question. How do trillions, with a T, of dollars actually get from point A to point B across the globe every single day? I mean, when you wire money from, say, New York to Tokyo, what is really happening behind the scenes? Well, I can pretty much guarantee the answer is not what you think it is.
If you were to ask just about anyone, maybe even some people who work in finance, you'd probably get this one-word answer: SWIFT, right? It's the name you always hear in the news. It's the system that connects all the global banks. It has to be the engine that powers international finance, right?
Okay, let's pump the brakes and really unpack that, because that simple, common answer, it's probably the single biggest myth in all of modern finance. Now don't get me wrong, SWIFT is incredibly important, but what it actually does is widely, and I mean wildly, misunderstood.
The source material we're using for this explainer puts it just perfectly. The misconception is that the mailman is the one moving the money. Think about that. It's a classic case of confusing the messenger with the actual message. And today, we are going to set that record straight. So if SWIFT isn't the one moving the money, then what is? Well, the reality is that it's actually a three-part system. It's like a team of highly specialized players, and each one has a very distinct, very crucial role. So let's meet the real heavy lifters of global finance. First up, you've got SWIFT. Now, the best way to think about SWIFT is like a super secure private messaging app, but it's only for banks. It doesn't carry money, it carries instructions about the money. It's basically the digital version of a sealed armored truck carrying a letter that says, hey, pay this person this much money. It's the messenger, not the cash. Okay, but for that letter to be understood by any bank anywhere in the world, it needs a common language, a universal format. And that's where Iso20022 comes in. It's the standard for how to write the instructions. Think of it as the grammar and the vocabulary of finance. It ensures the data is clean and rich, but it's just the format of the message. It has no power on its own. And this is where the magic actually happens. The RTGS system, which stands for Real-Time Gross Settlement, is the central bank's master ledger. It's the official book of accounts. So when that SWIFT message arrives, all formatted nicely, the central bank uses its RTGS system to debit one account and credit another. This is settlement. This is the moment the money actually, officially moves. So let's put it all together. The process is actually crystal clear once you see the pieces. A bank sends an instruction using the SWIFT messaging network. That instruction is written in the universal language of Iso20022. And finally, the central bank gets that message and makes the change on its official RTGS ledger. That's it. Messaging, data, and settlement. Three totally distinct layers. Okay, so now you get the traditional system. But what about that other thing we always hear about? The system that's hyped up as the replacement for all of this. I'm talking about blockchain. Well, as we're about to see, it doesn't just work differently. It honestly operates in a completely different universe. You see, blockchain was born from a totally opposite philosophy. It's not some closed private system for banks. It runs on the open, public internet. Transactions aren't reversible by some central authority. They are locked in forever, immutable. It isn't centralized. It's a network of peers. And maybe most importantly, it doesn't move instructions about assets. It manages the digital assets directly, right on its own ledger. And this really sets the stage for an incredible comparison. Because when you put the traditional banking system and blockchain side by side, you start to see they aren't just different technologies. No, they are fundamentally, philosophically, and architecturally opposed to one another. It's a real clash of worlds.
Let's just start at the front door, getting access. The SWIFT network is a members-only club. It is private, it's heavily regulated, and you need permission to even get in. Blockchain, by its very nature, is the exact opposite. It's built on the public internet, completely open for anyone to connect to. So one is a fortress, and the other is a public square. So what happens if there's a mistake? A typo, a wrong amount? Well, in the banking world, a central bank absolutely needs the power to correct errors or reverse fraud. Their RTGS ledgers are built with an undo button. But on a blockchain, immutability is a core feature, not a bug. Once a transaction is confirmed, it is final, period. There's no central authority to call for a do-over.
This visual really says it all, doesn't it? It perfectly illustrates the core design difference. The traditional system is a star or a hub and spoke model where everything connects to the center. The central bank is the hub. Blockchain, on the other hand, is a mesh network where every participant connects to many others. It's centralized power versus decentralized cooperation.
And then there's the question of identity. I mean, this one's huge. The regulated banking world is built on a foundation of verified legal identities. Things like know your customer rules are non-negotiable. But blockchain, well, it operates on anonymous or pseudonymous addresses. The whole concept of a legal, real-world identity is completely foreign to its original design.
So here's the crucial takeaway from all this. Comparing Swift and blockchain is kind of like comparing an email server to a bar of gold. They aren't even competing for the same job. They operate on completely different layers of the financial stack, and they're built to solve different problems with opposing tools. This table from our source material just clarifies everything perfectly. Look, in the traditional system, you have these distinct, separate layers for messaging, data, and settlement, all to manage an asset. Blockchain just collapses all that. It's a single, integrated system that is the asset and is the ledger, all at once. The other layers, they just don't apply. And this is really the key point I want you to walk away with. These two systems were designed with opposite principles to solve fundamentally different problems. The regulated, reversible, identity-based world of central banking simply cannot be replaced by an open, immutable, and anonymous system. They just don't fit into each other's worlds. And that leads us to our final, and I think most important thought. This whole narrative of replacement is a dead end. It's the wrong way to look at it. The real question, the exciting question, is about connection. What happens when these two parallel universes actually start building bridges to each other? What becomes possible when the world of regulated finance starts to interact with the world of digital assets? Now that is where the future gets truly interesting.